Alrighty, so for the code along, we're going to do form validation rules 6 through 7. We'll break this into two parts and then we'll do a code challenge for the checkpoint for this one. So I already have it open and we'll start with 3, 4, and 5 on part 1 and then we'll do 6 and 7 and then I'll set up 8 for what you need to do for the code challenge. So one thing, if you didn't already do this, go ahead and set up the hard-coded square footage. I had forgotten to do that in the solution, and I realized it when I started here. So make sure you've removed that text. That way we have a visual for what we're working on. And so now as I scroll up, we have, in this case, two inputs that are then determined by radio buttons and which one the user selects. Okay, so in this case, I've given you the rule, and then I've given you, in this case, what the validation text should look like. So let's go ahead and here, and I've already written mine in such a way that I didn't have to do so much typing. So I ended up just doing some, and all I'm doing here is putting a block, code block comment, so I don't have to write all this. So in this case, let's look at diet type, must be selected. Okay, so what would this look like from a rule perspective? And you can think about it as, well, we just need to make sure that actually diet type does contain in the form data has something in it. Okay, so in this case, one of them needs to be checked, right? So if we were to say not form data dot diet type, okay, so if we don't have something clicked, or in this case checked, and we'll talk about how that actually creates another type of issue in a minute, but we'll say the text content is going to be equal to, and again I've provided it, please enter diet. Okay. Right, so now we know that it's flagged. Okay. So now let's actually try to go run this one, because again, if I come over here, the first thing you notice is we can't uncheck it. Okay, and that's because unlike what we did with adding the no validate to the HTML form for the attributes that fall into the validation, these checkbox being checked don't fall into that category. Okay, so this nifty little no validate doesn't handle the fact that these are checked. Okay, that we actually set. So let's actually go into the HTML, scroll down to this one. Okay, so we can see that in this case, this is a attribute that doesn't fall into validation. So unfortunately, in this case, we're going to take this off. Okay, just for now, and then we'll also take it off for the next set as well, because, and then we'll have to remember, and this is where you create to do list when you're developing to remind you to go do stuff like this. The no validate makes it where we don't have to, but again, that's because this attribute called checked, and you can see how this changes our form, is not part of the no validate exclusion that we are currently using. So we have to actually do this. So now that we have that, we'd come back to source, and I would set my validation, my breakpoint here. In this case, I do know, and I could probably just set a value. I know I'm going to get that one, so I don't want that one. So let's just go down here. Okay, and so not diet type would be equal to true. It's not, we don't have, oh, actually, that's my bad. That would make it actually, okay, let's see. Okay, let's try it again, right? My bad. Okay, so in this case, right, It's true. There's not any, so when we look at diet type, which by the way, you can come over here if you don't remember, right? So diet type in here is undefined in the case that it's the check has been removed. So not, okay, would actually, so actually it is not in this case, so it is not there, okay? So in that case, we would say, okay, text content should be, all right, so now we should have seen that show up. Yep, and we do, and that one looks good. So, and then we can just return. Okay, so now we know that that one works. So now we'll do our little, get rid of the text part. It's for the food choice. Cool. Okay, so we'll get rid of it here. We know this one works. And the next one should look very familiar because it is another set of radio box, or another field set with radio, the second part of the field set for this case. Okay, so 4, and now I'm just going to do this, right, come here. All right, so now here, what are we looking for? We're looking for the food packaging must be selected. By the way, I'm going to go ahead just because here it's the same idea, and I could have put it, and I probably should have put it on the text, but I didn't. So now we want to look at, not food form data. Food. I got food on my brain. Dot food packaging. Okay. If not, and this is, right, selecting or determining if it's truthy or falsy just by having one expression that we're looking at. Okay. And the same was true for up here. So let's do food error, food packaging error dot text content equals, go grab the content here, which is, I should have put also an explanation on that other one just to make it consistent. There we go. Okay. And now it is valid. It is now implemented. Let's go test it. See what it looked like. Cool. So I'll not have that one go through. I'll set my breakpoint in my app.js for right here. Fire off my form submission. Oh, I already had a breakpoint there. That's okay. So in this case, right, it didn't fire that one off because we actually had it selected. So now, here, good. So now we have successfully tested that condition. Okay, so now we've successfully tested that. So we come over to here, and then we remove this. Okay, cool. Now, you might be thinking, well, why don't we go ahead and put checked back? But that's because later we're going to actually have some other work we're going to do, and I don't want to have those complete. I want to be able to test some of that logic later. So that's why I'm not putting it back. Okay, let's go look at our last one before we do a commit. So now your dishwasher or washing machine runs must be a non-negative, right? So what would be a non-negative? Right, can't be, has to be greater than, so it has to be greater than, or, right, can't be non-negative. Hold on.